like clock. I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols, reaming my body.
Alright guys, it's absolutely insane. The chapter is coming out in less than 10 days. It snuck up on me, I'm not gonna lie, just like how the last chapter snuck up on me as well. Now one of the first things that I do have to say about this chapter is that this is probably going to be one of Kishimoto's solo scripts. We talked about Ikimoto stepping down and Kishimoto taking back over, and last chapter is supposed to be Kishimoto's first chapter back, but usually when chapters do actually come out, they actually tell you guys who the script is written by. Last chapter, it didn't necessarily tell us who the script was written by, so that possibly tells me that the script was possibly written by both, possibly because Kishimoto would probably taken over on a very short timeline, so he probably just took over and of course finished and put his last finishing touches on it. But now in this chapter, we're probably going to get to see a 100% solo Kishimoto script. Of course, he's probably going to have some slight advisements from some other people out there, but you guys will get what I'm saying. Before we get into the contents of the chapter, I do want to give a huge shout out to my sponsor for today's video, and it's going to be Raid Shadow Legends. Raid Shadow Legends is an amazing, truly AAA quality game right in your pockets that you can dive into and play at any time. It has 500 champions to collect, each with their own skill trees and millions of artifacts to find and equip. No two champions will ever be the same, and that actually means like literally trillions of ways to build your team. It has crazy depth and endless strategies to figure out. One of my favorite things about Raid Shadow Legends has to be the champions. The champions look absolutely amazing, and all of the champions designs look extremely unique. One of my favorite champions has to be Gallic. He's an orc. He's been one of my favorite champions for about a year now. And speaking of champions, one of the more satisfying things in Raid Shadow Legends is of course upgrading your champions and having them fight against other players in PvP. And this month, Raid got its biggest update yet. The main event here is going to be the Doom Tower. It's a giant tower with 120 floors, a bunch of secret challenge rooms, and 12 insane bosses to take on. Not gonna lie, I've been waiting for this for a minute, and I can't wait to play it. On top of that, they're also releasing 14 awesome new champions just in time for the holidays, along with a bunch of holiday events and tournaments. Raid was also nice enough to give you guys a huge head start. If you guys click the link in the description, you'll get a free Void Champion, an XP booster, 50 gems, some energy refills, and even an ancient shard as soon as you get into the game. You get Bulwark, this champion, for free. You'll find your extra rewards here in your inbox for the next 30 days only. One more time, look at this champion. He looks amazing. He's definitely going to be a huge help in the Doom Tower against those bosses. You can find me in game under the name Baara, and if you're quick enough, you can also join my clan. All you have to do is click the link in my description down below, and I'll see you in the game. Now in this chapter, there's going to be two huge storylines. The two huge storylines are of course going to be Momoshiki and Naruto's lifespan. First thing that I definitely do want to talk about is Momoshiki's arrival in this particular episode. Now there have been a lot of questions. Is Momoshiki going to be a part of the good guys, and is Momoshiki going to potentially turn against Naruto and Sasuke? I kind of gave my opinions about this before. Obviously Momoshiki is stepping in right now because he sees that his vessel is pretty much going to be finished, so obviously Momoshiki is going to be a part of the good guys. The only question I have about this is the fact that Isshiki Otsutsuki definitely understood that this right here was a possibility, that Momoshiki would potentially come back to life. Was Isshiki Otsutsuki just being completely confident and cocky, thinking that Momoshiki plus Naruto and Sasuke were not going to be enough to take down Isshiki Otsutsuki fully reborn? Or does Isshiki Otsutsuki actually believe that Momoshiki is actually on Isshiki Otsutsuki's side? I personally think it's the first one. I think Isshiki Otsutsuki is just being too overly confident, mainly because he's done that throughout the whole series. If you guys do recall, the first time that we did see Jigen in action, which is Isshiki Otsutsuki, is when he literally teleported into Naruto's living room and apologized to him about not taking his shoes off in his house. Now, as far as Momoshiki actually trying to turn against Naruto and Sasuke, this is something I also answered before. I definitely think that's not going to be a possibility. But here's the thing. I think if Naruto and Sasuke make any moves towards trying to actually hurt Boruto's body indirectly or hurt Momoshiki period, or potentially try to question him or something like that, I'm pretty sure Momoshiki is probably not going to take that lightly. So of course it's going to be a very tension-filled situation with Momoshiki, especially with Sasuke mainly because, as we know right now, Sasuke is not necessarily in the front lines in terms of actually fighting Isshiki Otsutsuki. Now in my opinion, I think there is definitely a potential plot twist to where Momoshiki gives a Karma Seal to Kawaki himself. What we understand is that it is 100% possible for an Otsutsuki member in the body of a vessel to actually give someone else a Karma Seal. We've seen that from Isshiki Otsutsuki Jigen giving the Karma Seal to Kawaki. In this particular situation, it would also be possible for Momoshiki in the body of Boruto to give Kawaki the Karma Seal. That right there would definitely flip the whole series of Boruto upside down. Now the next big thing that I did mention to you guys is of course Naruto's life. I strongly doubt we're going to get any sort of finality to this situation in the next chapter. I think we're definitely going to get a lot more hints as to if Naruto is actually going to be surviving the Baryon mode. As we've seen from the last chapter, Kishimoto kind of opened the door to Naruto actually not dying. In the previous chapter, in chapter 51, Ikimoto 100% closed the door. He had Kurama say, if you use this mode, you are going to die. And the reason why we're now questioning this is because Ikimoto was literally fired. Kishimoto stepped up. So now, because Kishimoto is actually penning the series, we now have to question that statement. Now, as I said, even though I don't think we're going to get to see any sort of finality in this chapter, we're definitely going to get to see some more hints as to if Naruto is actually going to be dying right here. One of the bigger criticisms throughout the last couple of chapters is Sasuke's involvement. People don't really think that Sasuke is as involved as people would like him to be, and I completely agree. But my stance is this: Sasuke and Naruto, they both can't necessarily have a prevalent role in every single chapter. That could possibly be too much. You're going to obviously get some chapters where Naruto is the focal point, and you're going to obviously get some chapters where Sasuke is the focal point, especially in this particular situation because Naruto has a whole new mode and he might actually potentially die after using this mode. For example, a couple of chapters ago, around August, people were saying that Naruto is being left on the back burners and Naruto is looking bad because Sasuke was literally saving Naruto's life against Isshiki Otsutsuki when Isshiki Otsutsuki first invaded the Hidden Leaf Village. This is going to be like a seesaw event. In this particular situation, of course, the pendulum is switched automatically all the way over to Naruto's side because, as I said, he has the new mode. He's basically the focal point now. But regardless, I think that Sasuke can definitely have some key roles in the next chapter. Now, it's going to be difficult for Sasuke for a couple of reasons. It's going to be difficult for Sasuke mainly because, one, he can't really touch Naruto. So fighting alongside Naruto is going to be really tricky, especially because Sasuke himself, he's not necessarily on the tier of Isshiki Otsutsuki and Naruto at this particular point. Isshiki Otsutsuki made it absolutely clear that he's faster than Sasuke and stronger than Sasuke by miles. And of course, because of Naruto's new mode, he is now on that same tier as well. So not only is Sasuke going to potentially be just a distraction in the battle with these two god level creatures, Sasuke is at an extra disadvantage mainly because he can't really touch Naruto. Another thing that we don't really know is if Sasuke can actually touch Isshiki Otsutsuki. Because Isshiki Otsutsuki's lifespan is now roped into the Baryon mode, does that actually mean whoever touches Isshiki Otsutsuki, their life is also going to be roped into the Baryon mode as well? Sasuke is 100% going to be heavily involved in terms of analyzing BoruShiki. He's going to be dumbfounded. He's going to be confused. He's going to be wondering like, hey, when did Boruto learn how to float? Hey, why does Boruto sound differently? Hey, why does he sound like Momoshiki? And hey, why is he now able to fight so good? And is that the Byakugan or the Jogan? A whole bunch of things like that I feel like Sasuke is going to be talking about. In fact, I think that this right here could possibly take up literally half of the chapter, literally just Sasuke and BoruShiki content. Now, in terms of later in this chapter and potentially even the next chapter, I could definitely see Sasuke taking over for Naruto and that being adequate because in the future, Isshiki Otsutsuki is 100% going to be fatigued. He's not going to be as fast as he was. He's not going to be as strong as he was. I think he's probably going to be even weaker than he was in the vessel of Jigen. I know a lot of people don't really like to make this comparison, but let's be honest, you have to make this comparison, especially among these two animes. But in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, especially in the last arc, a lot of people thought that Vegeta, which is the secondary main character, which is Sasuke in this particular situation, would come in at the end and actually clean up the enemy, which is Moro. Some of you guys might know, some of you guys might not, but I think that could definitely happen in this particular situation where Naruto is not necessarily all there. Naruto's kind of recuperating from the Baryon mode. If he dies, if he doesn't die, we have absolutely no idea. And of course, Boruto can be completely passed out mainly because after he goes into this BoruShiki mode, he might be completely passed out. Hey, Isshiki Otsutsuki might have actually just beat BoruShiki. We have absolutely no idea. And then that then leaves the door open for Sasuke to swoop in and actually destroy Isshiki Otsutsuki and potentially save Kawaki. But regardless, what we do understand is that the next chapter of Boruto is supposed to be a very good one. And talking about what Kishimoto actually has on his plate, it's a lot. It's a lot of things to juggle. You have to juggle Momoshiki, you have to juggle Naruto's new mode, you also have to juggle Isshiki Otsutsuki's power and his strength, and of course, how Sasuke is going to be reacting to all of this in the chapter. But let me know what you guys think about this chapter in the comment section below and give me some of your predictions, some bold predictions that you guys think could possibly be the case in this chapter. But another big thanks to my sponsors, Raid Shadow Legends. Of course, as I said, make sure you guys click the link in the description to get all the good features of Raid Shadow Legends. And of course, if you guys want to support my channel, that's a good way to do so as well. But it's me and boy Barbie, and we out.
It's a knife.